Good morning, Saul.
Morning, Stan. I don't know if Hank's paying attention or if he's off doing other stuff, but I was going to ask him about the stuff on the Seniors Computer Group website on the bits and bytes, where there's apparently, I believe, an April Fool's joke in May on the top of that list of items.
What list?
The bits and bytes.
Yeah.
The thing about Zoom and waving your hand and going to the caret next to the reactions button. There is no caret next to the reactions button.
Yes, there is.
Not on mine. How about you, Stan?
I'm looking. I have a caret next to reactions.
You do. Interesting. I'm on the latest version on both Mac and Windows, and I didn't see any caret next to it.
There's a caret. I just click the caret and a box pops up and says, recognize hand gestures.
Well, that's what it says on there. I'm saying I have a caret next to the microphone, the video, participants, chat, show captions, apps. I don't have any next to reactions.
Well, I do, and it shows the same thing that Hank's does.
Right. And so that just shows that Zoom is very fickle, because this has come up in the past where I never had an apps button and other people did and so forth. It's seems really strange.
Yeah, they seem to be working on it constantly, and little changes pop in when we update, I'm sure. But I update as frequently as possible. So every time I notice that a new update is available, I do it.
Yes, well, apparently, as I say, it's very inconsistent.
Yeah.
I gotta go that way, sweetie. Gotta get my hearing aids.
I wonder if it matters if you're logged into Zoom, because I'm not. Okay.
I didn't either. I came in through the link of Hank's message. No, I went to my Zoom app on the desktop. And this is one of the options in the Zoom app. There's a calendar now on the Zoom app, and it reflects everything in my Google Calendar as well as Zoom meetings, whether they're in the calendar or not. And one of those is the Senior Computer Group on Saturday mornings. And that's how I came in this morning.
I presume you must have linked your Google Calendar to your Zoom account.
That's true, yes.
Well, I'll retract my statement of suggesting it was bogus. I'm just saying I don't see it, and I understand that you do, and I believe you.
Thank you.
It's along the line of artificial intelligence, of recognizing hand waves. You know, I could just see somebody going up to scratch their nose and they're going, oh, raise their hand, you know?
It doesn't work if your video is off.
Okay, that makes sense because the camera would have to be involved in order to see the hand waving.
Certainly does.
So until we start, I wonder if I could give you an inkling of the issues I'm facing right now with the scam. So my first question would be, is there an easy way to see when a picture was taken? You know, was it taken yesterday or is it just a compilation of whatever done months ago? So that's my first question. My second question has to do with the cell phone number, which is actually classified as landline by a different name person in a different state. So these are my two questions for you to ponder, I hope.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you for asking and thank you for visiting. But the first part of this meeting today will be a senior computer group board of directors meeting. And you're welcome to stay and visit as an observer. And following the meeting, which will be hopefully it will be brief. They usually run approximately an hour, sometimes more, sometimes less. And then we get into a Q&A, and I'll be glad to have you resubmit that question at that time.
Okay, I mean, I was aware of what you just said. I know that, but I thought that when people have some time to think about something, they are more likely to have an answer when the Q&A section goes, especially since nobody's talking right now. So I thought I would put out what I will be looking for. And I know I have to wait for the Q&A session. That's not an issue.
That's a good idea, and thank you for that. And we'll think about it.
Thank you.
Well, my thoughts, as long as we got a couple minutes before the board meeting starts, is it's getting harder to tell what is a real picture and what has been faked. There is some information stored in JPEG files in the headers, and if you have a application to view that information, it may lead you to where the location was when it was taken, if that information was recorded in the device taking the picture, as well as the date and time it was taken. But I imagine that could also be faked these days. As far as having a phone number listed as a landline when it's a cell phone and to somebody else, I think you're going to have to contact the carrier and get them to straighten that out.
Oh,
Hello, Don Raymond. Will Wakely, you always inquire as to new persons present. And Don Raymond is an old friend of mine, and he's here because I asked him.
Hey, welcome. We also have someone by the name of Ashabi Blair, whom I have not seen before. Could you tell us how you found out about us?
I was in the database with a Walkabout group, and
good.
they sent me a notice.
Good. Glad to have you with us.
Thank you.
good morning, Ashabi. Good to see you again.
Hi, Stan. Good to see you too.
Well, I'm glad to see people coming in early. I sure appreciate that. Thank you. Feel free to rename yourself if it helps clarify anything. If your name is abbreviated or something to make it more friendly. Well, I think I see 6 board members present. Am I correct on that? David is not here, our secretary.
And
I would-
Alice isn't here yet, is she?
Who? Saul is indicating 7, so we do have a quorum.
I show 14 for some reason.
I'm talking about board members.
Oh, board members, sorry.
I don't see the treasurer.
She has moved back to
Oh, that's right.
Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's right. She's not going to be here and said there's no treasurer. There was no activity in the account this month, so that's easy. I forgot. So you're right,
Okay.
Stanley, if you want to start.
Yeah, I'm going to call the meeting to order. David can pick up with the transcript when he arrives. So I'm calling the May Board of Directors meeting to order at 10:31 a.m. Minutes of the, are there any agenda changes anyone would like to see? I trust you have a copy of the agenda in front of you. Okay, hearing none. The minutes of the previous board meeting. If there's no objections, we could accept the minutes, even though David is not here yet.
Move we accept the minutes as published.
Second,
It's been moved and seconded.
you
All
might
in-
state the names, Stan, for the record for David in the transcript.
Okay. Number of the members present at this time.
No,
I just meant that Will made the motion and I seconded it. State
Oh, I
our
see.
names. Say Will made the motion, Saul seconded it.
Done.
Gotcha. All right. Will Wakely made the motion and Saul Schumer seconded the motion to accept the minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? On any abstention, you know,
Abstentions.
Abstained.
okay. And I'm only asking for the directors to vote. Guests should not vote. All right, moving forward. President's report. I'm just pleased we don't have the problems other organizations do. Financial or membership, I think we're doing great. And I think we've adapted to the new reality of Zoom meetings. And I think we're just doing fine. But that's not much of a report, just an opinion. Administration report. Will, do you have anything to comment on?
Only that I've set it up with our treasurer that she can have our mail forwarded to her in Wisconsin if she prefers. So we will do that when she wants that done. The post office has that feature that we can forward mail.
And that's a temporary feature for up to 6 months. Is that correct?
Well, they say it can be done for a year, but you can do it for any length of time that you want to, less than a year.
But it's not a permanent. You can't do.
No,
a
it's not it is not permanent. That's
Right.
correct.
That's,
You can do it either with a form they have at the post office, or you can do it online.
all right. Thank you very much for that, Will.
Can I just ask Will a question?
Sure.
On the post office box, are you the primary person's name on the PO box?
Correct.
Thank you.
However, it is a name in the name of a senior computer group.
I
However,
do
I'm the
understand that. Yes.
I'm the contact.
Yes, thank you.
And as a reminder, I do have a key and I can check it at any time that Will finds it more convenient for me to do that. Really, I carry the key on my keychain, and in my billfold, I have a reminder of the box number. So if I should forget where it is, I have the information with me.
Good.
Okay, Willie, as public relations, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I was pleased to find out in my technology class taught by Mary Burns this last week that she's included a link to our senior computer group website in her lesson plan under resources. They have a senior resources, which includes about 6 or 7 different resources for computer help. And she highlighted ours and showed the homepage, which is kind of nice.
Very good.
The word's out there, at least to the students in the class.
And it's also out to walkabout people. I have a regular Friday Zoom meeting, and in that invitation, a reminder actually to the Walkabout Friday meeting, I include Hank's announcement of what the program is for this Saturday meeting. So we're going out to, well, this last time I went to all Walkabout members, present and former. So it went out to approximately 800 names. So there were a lot of former Walkabout people that have received that invitation. As Ashabi is a former Walkabout member, and she's was at my meeting yesterday, and she's here again today to participate. Moving forward, programs. Hank, do you have any observations?
Yes, I have something I want to tell everybody. As you know, because it's in the invitation email every week, I record this session and all sessions and post or upload the recording after the meeting to YouTube, and then post a link to that YouTube video on our website, so that anyone who missed the meeting can go back and watch the whole thing. Well, there've been at least 2 problems. We are including full sessions of people like Theo Joe and what's his name? The
Kevin.
what? Who say?
Kevin.
Yeah, Kevin Stratford. And those presentations are copyrighted, and YouTube will ding you heavily if you post something that's copyrighted sometimes, unless the copyright holder says it's okay. So I've been dinged once, and actually I didn't get a strike on my account at YouTube, but I had to remove one of the presentations. So I'm not sure I'm going to be able to continue to do that forever. We'll see.
Hank, is this just putting up the link is a problem?
Yes. Oh, no, it's actually uploading the recording, which contains
Oh.
copyright material.
Okay. Why don't
into-
you just list the
into-
link and then that's not a problem?
into my YouTube account. Of course, I could just put a link to it in, I could put the recording in our Google Drive, but that is going to fill that up pretty
Well,
fast.
a link, a link is easy for people just to click on the link.
Will, you're misunderstanding the issue. The issue is that when you upload something as a YouTube video and it contains other YouTube videos in that video, that's a copyright infringement, or can be.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry, I didn't understand that. Thank you.
Hank, we trust your guidance as to how to do that without inflicting any liability to us. So,
It's not to
just-
us, it's to me.
okay, we trust your intuition as to how to solve this problem. I don't think it requires any board action,
No,
but I do appreciate the board being informed. Thank you.
you're welcome. I'm done.
Okay, moving forward. Treasurer's report, she will submit that next month. I think we can presume that that will be done. Membership, Will, would you like to address membership?
Yeah, can I share the screen?
Yes, you may.
Yes, yes. Mhm.
Okay, as you can you see this on the screen?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, as of today, we have, I'm sorry, shows at the end of April, actually today also, we have 39 active members. We had a total of 3 new members and 26 renewed. We still have 10 life members. So we're still down below what we were last year. And hopefully we can get back up to that number. Any questions on that?
Yes, I have one. Will, in the row labeled dropped, that was 10 at the end of March.
Correct.
As I remember, the one of the renewals in April was someone who had been dropped because he
Correct.
didn't pay his dues before March 31st. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Then I think you ought to change. I think you ought to put -1 in the April column on dropped and change the total dropped to 9.
Okay.
Or alternatively, you could just remove the dropped row entirely.
Yeah, we don't need that anymore. You're correct. I considered that, but left it in for this report. I'll take that out next month. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Will. Okay, moving forward to directors of is there any new business anybody wants to bring up? I think we should address that issue. Okay,
Was
I'd
there
like-
was there old business on the agenda?
yeah, yes, on the agenda. What old business are we missing? I'm hearing none. Okay, so I'm going to proceed to new business, which we didn't hear any on. I would like to hear if the directors at large would like to contribute anything. Ray Slater, do you have any observations?
No, I'm speechless.
All right, very good. Arlene, how are you doing? Good to see you again. You're muted.
Sorry. On the 25th of this month, Peter and I are moving to Aurora, Colorado. And
Wonderful.
I sent the new address to Will, so he will have that. We are going to plan on having internet access, so I plan to continue attending the Zoom meetings.
Very good. Thank you very much. Maybe we can get together before you leave. We'll talk.
Oh, we'll see. The calendar's filling up.
All right. Very good. Thank you, Arlene. All right, Jim Fagacci. Oh, wait, well, Bob, I'll recognize you, Bob. I'll recognize you after I get my directors in. Jim Fagacci, do you have any observation?
I don't believe Jim is
Oh,
here.
Jim is not here. All right, Saul, do you have anything to add?
No,
All right, Alice is
Not here.
here.
not here. All right, Bob, whatever your last name is.
Why don't you adjourn the board meeting first and then recognize Bob?
Well, he might have something relating to the board. Bob, go ahead. You're muted now. You're muted now, Bob. You need to unmute, Bob.
Is it Bobby you're talking about?
No,
Yes.
Bob Freed.
Bob, we'll proceed to the Q&A. Next meeting is June 10th. And I declare the meeting adjourned at 10:45. How about that? A 15-minute meeting.
Good job.
Okay. Bob Fear, would you like to, Bob Freed?
Yes, I would like to ask you if I could pay with a credit card, please.
You have a favor for what?
He wants to know if
whether
he
you
can pay his membership dues with a credit card.
Yes, I'm traveling worldwide, perhaps I should say, but I would like to retain my membership. I think I couldn't pay because I don't use any checks. Are really a hassle.
The
Okay.
answer is, Bob, the answer is yes, you can do that from the Senior Computer Group website.
If
Okay.
you will go.
It
if
takes
you
you
go-
to PayPal where you can pay with a credit card.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
You will
Thank you.
find it, if you go to the website, which is scgsd.org.
Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
And one of the tabs at the top says join. And if you follow that tab, way down at the bottom, there's a link to a PayPal account where you can put in your credit card for the dues.
Okay, great. All right. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, Stan has adjourned the board meeting, so we are now in Q&A. And Will and I will do the best we can. And maybe Don Raymond will help. Don Raymond was in the computer business for a long time. And I noticed that because he was helping someone with a problem with their computer named Hank, but it was a different Hank, and he sent it to the wrong Hank email. So I invited him to come here.
Don, where are you located?
Good morning. I'm in Kaneohe, Hawaii, and thank you very much, Hank Drayton, for inviting me. Hank has talked about this for many years. I appreciate the opportunity to come learn something and meet some new people.
Glad to have you here.
And I joined IBM in 1968. So I've been in the computer business since I basically started with computers in 65.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
Yeah.
Okay, we're now in questions and answers, and I don't see any hands up.
You might start with Elizabeth's former questions.
Yes.
Elizabeth.
Yes, I'm going to repeat, but first I'm going to add a new twist. And the new twist is, because I know that it exists, how can you compare? How can you easily find out that the picture that you've received via cell phone is actually a picture that you can find on the internet? And I don't remember how how to do it. Yes, please.
So if you go to Google's website,
Uh-huh.
in their search, they
Mhm.
have an option to do images. And in
Mhm.
there, there's a camera where you can upload the image you have, and it will
Mhm.
search for images that look like the one you upload.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right.
Let's see if
And-
I can show that with a shared screen.
Yeah, that's a good feature. I've used it several times to look for images.
All right, here we go. I'm going to share my screen with a Google search. There we are. And you will see over
You have some gray boxes. Okay, if you
I-
get rid of the boxes, it would help.
I don't think I need to get rid of any more. You
That's
see
good.
right here where my cursor is,
Yes.
Yeah.
it says images. If you click that, then one of your options is to insert right here a link to an image on the internet, among other things.
But it's the camera icon over on the right in the middle there where you can upload a photo.
Yeah, search by image. If I click that and then drag any image here or upload a file,
Mhm.
it will
Yes.
search the entire internet. And if that image is on the internet, it'll tell you where it is.
It
I
will
see.
also bring up other images that are similar.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just like search results, except in graphic form.
Uh-huh. But I'm thinking that, in my opinion, there's kind of a background picture, like for example, a swimming pool in Dubai with the most famous building of Dubai showing, and then most likely insertion of somebody changing a face, adding somebody in the swimming pool. So you think that that person is in Dubai when in fact, they got the background picture from the internet and then they managed to add themselves on that background picture. Follow my drift?
Yes.
Yes, but chances are, if the features in your image are similar to the features in the image they bring up, that may tell you something.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay. Thank you. So then the other question was, well, I guess it's the same to find out when a picture was taken. There is no easy way to do it, or is there?
With graphic type programs, if you put the picture in there, usually you can get information about the picture. And part of that information in some apps will include something called EXIF, which is the information that the camera stores when the picture is taken. That may include the location, the actual geographic location when the picture was taken, where it was taken, as well as the date and time stamp and other information like the lens settings and so forth.
Mhm. I'm not quite clear as to what would I do first. Okay, so I get a couple of pictures on my cell phone, and then my thought is, what do I do next? And what I have done next so far is to forward that picture to another account that I have, the so-called Google voicemail. And what I like about using this feature is that when I forward from my first account to that Google account or whatever, then I get automatically an email with exactly the same thing that I texted myself. And so then it's easier for me to download the picture, because otherwise I don't know how to transfer a picture from a cell phone to my laptop. That's the bottom line.
Whatever it works easiest for you is fine.
Okay.
The type of information I'm talking about is in the header of the photo file It is not going to change no matter how many times you forward it or
Mhm.
send it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Saul, my question is, if you have the photograph, you need to put it into some sort of a thing like Photoshop in order to read the details of the photograph?
Basically, any graphics editor will do that. Yes. Anything that will let you view photos that has the ability to display additional information about the photo file itself.
So
Okay.
which program might that be? Since I don't have Photoshop and I don't want to mess with Photoshop, what's the next best bet?
What type of operating system is running on a computer that you would be viewing this on?
Windows 10.
So a free application that you can get to do that is one called Irfan View, IRFAN, IRFAN. That's the person's first name who wrote it. VIEW, all
Oh,
one word.
You're going a little too fast. Can you go a little more slowly, please?
Okay, the name of the program is IRF as in Frank, A, N as in Nancy, V as in Victor, IEW.
Wow. Okay.
Irfan View, and you can search for it and download it from their website. It's free. And when you have that program installed and bring the photo into it, you will find on one of the menus, I think it might be the view menu or image menu, I think at the very top, there's something called information. And that's where you would go in and look. And then once you open up that information pane, there would be a button that says EXIF. And that would be true in any other type of program. You get information on the photo. There'd usually be more information in an EXIF. Extended information is what it's for. And that's what the camera records when the photo is taken. Now, acknowledge that anything can be fake these days, including that information. So
Right.
I don't know how relevant it's going to be.
Right. Just for fun, just for my own edification. So thank you. I think you've answered. And so you said earlier that, well, if you wanted to spoof a phone number on your cell phone, that the internet, like True People Search, tells you, well, this number belongs to Joe Blow, and Joe Blow lives in, wherever. So there is no connection between, so the cell phone number, let's say 619 and whatever, and then figuring out more about how is it possible, I guess that's my real question, how is it possible to assume somebody else's landline number as your cell phone number?
So if I'm understanding it correctly, that you get a phone call and on the caller ID, it shows a telephone number, which might not be legitimately the real number that the person is calling from.
Precisely, yes. Any idea?
Yeah, we're not going to disclose ways to go about spoofing phone numbers. I think that's an improper thing to do. Obviously, people have figured out how to do this.
Okay, so that's what I need to look for, how to spoof a picture. Is that the question that I asked Google? No. I mean, I understand not you. I'm not asking you to tell me. I'm just asking, how might I go about figuring it out on my own with
Just
whatever
a minute.
tools?
Let Ross comment on this.
Yeah, as Saul's mentioning, I wouldn't venture into that area at all. To understand how to spoof an email, spoof a telephone number. Yes, it can be done. Yes, you can probably find ways that you can do it. I think that unless you're doing it for profit, it's going to end up hurting you more than it's going to help you. Now, how do you know when the number comes in if it's the right information that's on there? And unfortunately, there is no way for you to know who that is. In the telephone when you make a telephone call, it sends information across the phone network. And on that, there is billing information that the phone company uses. That cannot be spoofed, that I'm aware of. That information goes so that when, let's say it's an 800 number, they know it's an 800 number and they record all that information as far as where that came from at the phone company. Yes, there are devices that are supposedly available. I haven't seen one for 20 years, but that you could put onto your telephone line at your home and read that information off of that call when it came in and says, nope, it says it's from 619, but it's actually from 720. It's a different telephone number altogether. But that information in there is used, it's international information that is used by all of the countries, all the telephone systems. And again, it's for billing. But again, we don't have access to that. To me, the best way to screen calls like that is if you weren't expecting a call from that individual, then just let it go to the answering machine.
Right.
And then
right.
read there. Now, I do read also that the artificial intelligence is starting to take snippets of voice from those phone numbers. So you may hear it and it sounds like your friend. But again, it's not. You just have to be really, really careful.
Okay, thank you.
I've discovered that when calls come in, there's a code and it starts with a V Victor. When those come in, I find those are pretty much spam calls. Also, there's certain area codes which are commonly used by spam callers. I don't recall those particular ones right now, but you can Google for them.
So to me, we've had this for at least 10 years now, the No More Robo. And what they do is that you set it up so that when the telephone rings at your place, it rings at the No More Robo server. The No More Robo server looks up with that 800 number, basically, then what's in the billing on that telephone number, and sees if it's a known spammer. They don't care what the name is that's on there. They check it against a major database, and then they can block the call, or I just have them drop it. If it comes up on their list, I don't want to see about it. And you can add and remove people from that in your systems. I do that with my phone system called UMA that supports No More Robo. So that's the way that I reduce the number of phone calls. It doesn't get rid of them, but it does reduce the number of them.
Ross, I also have UMA. How do you use No More Robo with UMA?
Well, it's in there. Do you have the call blocking feature turned on in UMA?
I don't believe I do.
Then you need to get in touch. So UMA's got an 800 number to call. And if you go into your portal online, it'll show you all kinds of information about the calls that were made to you, the calls you went out. I have it set up to do voicemail and email me those voicemails. And I can go in there and say, this here is a spammer, block it. So when I get those ones that is obvious to me when I answer the phone or anything else that it's a spammer, I try to take the time to say, it's a spam phone call, please block it.
Yeah, fine. For those who don't know, both Ross and I and maybe others use this program, this phone system called UMA, OOMA, and it's a device that you purchase. I think I paid $70 for it. Sometimes it's more. But what it allows you to do is connect to the internet so that you have a landline. And it's an excellent system. And it only costs, I believe I pay $6 a month, which is just the taxes on
right, the federal taxes.
Federal taxes. And so it's a lot cheaper than any other phone system if you need a landline.
Consumer Reports recommended it a long time ago. That's when I got it about 10 years ago. And you can buy them through Costco. So it's well reviewed and it takes a little bit to get it set up, but it's called voice over IP. If you don't have a hard telephone line from AT&T, then if you have Cox or Spectrum or anybody else's telephone service, it is voice over IP. It's basically the same thing. It's been very reliable, as it is with all the services.
I purchased mine through Amazon and I think it was less than what Costco charges, but equivalent.
Don Raymond,
I recently changed telephones. We have a wireless base for our particular landline. And I got something that really made me feel lucky that I actually purchased it. This is just simply a Panasonic telephone. Now there's a button you press that says block call. And it works great. Okay, and I've got 5 of these in a group. I've got a base that the calls come in on the base or on the phone, right down here on the phone, block call, and it blocks them.
So
Is
does,
that only available on that particular phone?
It's a model of phone, yes. Other companies are changing their features finally for us as consumers and starting to add this, but this particular Panasonic phone, that particular Panasonic phone, I don't know if you can see it or not, in the center bottom is a white button that says block, call block. It works. Works very well and very quickly.
and that blocks it and blocks it if they call you again?
Absolutely, immediately. Anyway, actually, it's a little bit of an overstatement. Initially, it rang. What I've known, if I take and press this, I get my finger here on this thing backward. If I take and press this button and block that phone call, it says, "Do you really want to do this?" I say yes, or I say no. But I've only said yes because I only press it when I don't want the turkey calling me back. If I get a call now and I press that button, I will get maybe one more call or one ring because of this, the robo system is trying it out. Bam, they're rejected. Bam, they're rejected. I mean, it's I've never been so pleased with a telephone.
what
It's
is,
under it is $150 because I got 5 of them, one base and multiple rooms in the house. It's like buying ice cream and they give you 4 extra dips.
so can you go in and edit that list if you find later that you say, oops, I didn't really want to block that one?
Yes,
You do that on the phone?
yes, in any handset or the base. Any handset you pick up or base, you may do that. I find it easier to do on the handset than I do on the base because the base that I have is sitting on a piece of furniture that, it's just logistically in my home easier to pick up a handset and do it.
My question, is that Panasonic, is that a landline or is that a cell phone?
Actually, this phone has the ability to be it starts off as a landline. One of the new features, in addition to call blocking, is automatic cell phone forwarding out of this thing when it's a landline, and it can forward to your cell phone to your landline or the other way around. The new technology features that are coming out they got to compete some way with cell phones. So they happily coexist with them. And you may make it happily coexist with your cell phone if you like. Okay. Or you may say, forget it. I got a cell phone, I'm going to use that. I got a landline phone, I'm going to use that.
Stan has his virtual hand up.
And my real hand up too. I would like some clarification from John and Will, both of whom have used the term landline. And my understanding is the old one, that a landline is a hardwired telephone system coming into your house. And we'll use the term a landline in connection with UMU, which is over internet, which strikes me as being inconsistent with the term landline. And it may very well be that I have a misconception of what the current definition of landline is.
I use
can I-
landline as being not cell phone.
Exactly.
But over the internet, can be considered a
However
landline?
it gets to the home is however it gets to the home, but if it's not a cell phone, then it's a landline.
Okay, I got you. In other words, UMU is a landline.
Yes,
UMA.
UMA
yes,
is a landline system. All right,
correct.
that's what bothered me. I gotta admit, I will redefine my definition, maybe.
It's a little bit like when we only had guitars and then they made electric guitars and then we had to call the old ones acoustic guitars. Well, the landlines are still landlines, no matter how they get into your home, whether it's voice over IP, satellite, whatever. It's not a cell phone. It's not going to a cell tower to connect.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question on images. And I'll ask it next time I think about it.
I've got lots of those kind of questions.
I forgot the question.
That's right, folks. Don't get old. Your memory starts to go.
Just get a pencil and a piece of paper and write it down.
I normally do. I forgot to do this one.
I have.
Oh, I know what it was. Okay. On an image, how can you tell if it has been photoshopped?
You cannot.
Is that really true?
How many
Prove it
answers do you
otherwise,
want to
Will.
that? If
I
you have
know-
a way that you can do it, well, do it. But I believe Stan is, or Saul is correct that for many, many, many years, they can go in and zoom in on that information and that digital information and make changes and save it. And there's no way for you to know if that particular pixel has been modified or not.
Yeah, I understood that if you look at the image, that maybe there's some funny thing around the image that may indicate that it's been photoshopped, like a fuzzy edge or something like that.
I don't think so.
No.
I have Photoshop. Photoshop itself is very expensive, $700, I think. But
You can Google that yourself, Mr. Will. Say, how do I tell if a picture's been photoshopped? And I think you're going to see many, many results that say you can't. Unless you have the original image to compare it to and go have it compare that information. And that's how they do when they say, okay, this one's been photoshopped because here's the original. They take that picture and then they search the internet for that picture with minor variations. If they find up one that's in there that, like you say, there's 4 people in the picture, and what they do is they edit that person out and then they print it. Then you can go back and see, oh, yep, it really had 4 people to begin with, or it only had 3, and now they've added one.
Mm-hmm. Are there other programs that do the same thing that Photoshop does, but maybe not quite as well?
Yes, it's just picture editing. It's no different than a word processor or any other paint program that you go into a particular area and say, I want this to be gray. I don't want it to be black. And you can go by dot if you wanted to.
Okay, thank you.
Stan has his virtual hand up again.
I would just say if it's poorly done in Photoshop and you recognize that one area is in focus and another area is out of focus or something like that, if there's a visual clue that has been Photoshopped, yeah, you can tell that it's been Photoshopped. But if that isn't the case, if they're very good at doing what they do, there's no way to determine. That's my, in other words, if it's done well, you can't determine it. If it's done sloppily, yeah, because it's obvious.
But you have to, just like everything else on the emails or somebody at the front door or piece of regular mail, you have to assume that it's fake until you can prove by a couple other methods that it is true.
What other method would that be?
So if you get a picture from a friend and says, here's one picture from my birthday, then you have to get in touch with the friend and say, I'm looking at a picture here and it's got 6 people. Is that the picture from your birthday? There's no easy way around it. You have to go in and do the due diligence. In the same way, if you get a voicemail and it sounds like somebody, then you need to contact that person and say, did you leave me a voicemail that says that you got hijacked on the way back from your pub in Ireland and need money? you have to do it.
Yeah.
And I'll just add, Will, if you have time and are interested in doing this is a long video. The APCUG website has a YouTube channel with a lot of their webinars. There was one in the last couple of years by the editor of UChug, who you may be familiar with, who did a presentation there showing how to use a free cross-platform photo editor called GIMP, G-I-M-P, and all the stuff he did to basically modify photos to get them to come out the way he wanted them, including taking people out, putting people in, changing backgrounds, all sorts of things. It's quite informational, shall we say.
It's been at least 20 years now, but there was a National Geographic cover that showed a pyramid in Egypt, and behind it was a full moon. It was faked, and it was really big news at the time because they didn't put it out as fake. And they go, well, yeah, we wanted it to look this way, so we did it. But it was also to kind of say, you can't believe the photographs, that's actually what you have seen is what's happened.
And recently, and maybe this was said before on this meeting, that Chat CPT can lie. And it was shown that on one report that was given, they put in a reference to 3 different books with different authors. It turned out those were complete fake. The books did not exist and the authors did not exist, but it sounded like this was official when they came out with a report. So I'm hoping that Chat CPT will somehow put in a disclaimer or a watermark or something to indicate that the information they're giving out may not be completely true.
Nope.
That's kind of scary.
Well, it's what information can you really believe, Mr. Will? You can't until you verify it in a couple different ways. And one is to research yourself on the internet. And if you find 10 places that say, yes, this is true, and 2 that say it's false, what were those websites that said it was true? And if you believe those particular websites, then you go on. If you say, no, I think this other 2 websites have some legitimacy to them, then you have to pursue it a little bit more to find out. It's buyer beware.
It makes
Pat
life
has her
difficult.
virtual hand up.
Yeah,
Yeah, Pat?
this is kind of off, it's tangent to what you were saying, but I was actually looking for a program or something. This is going to be one of my questions. I have a number of them since I haven't been here in a while. But how do I add a person in? We had a person, we had a group shot and a person had to leave to go to work. So I remember years ago, I took a Photoshop thing and it was kind of complex. So I never did pursue it. But is there a simple program that would add a person in? No, everybody's shaking their heads. Okay.
How big is that person in the picture that you're referencing? What is the lighting around that person in there versus the picture you're trying to put him in? It can be done, but it's a work of art at that point. So
Yes.
does it take a fair amount of manipulation? Yep.
And I will just reference again to that APCUG webinar that the UChug person presented. They had their annual picnic out at Mission Bay somewhere. And one of the members, key members of the board and stuff, was not there. So they wanted to add them into the group photo they did. And of course, shadows, lighting, arms hanging over if they're linking together with one another. You had to piece it in and etch around everything and layer it. It is not a simple process.
Oh,
Yeah, this was also, and this actually happened at a UChug picnic a couple of years ago, UCHUG. If you go to the UCHUG.com website, I believe there is a video there that shows how this was done, how they added a person into this group photograph. And as Saul says, it's a fairly complex process to do it correctly, but they show how it's done, and you can't tell that it's not the real thing. Beautifully done.
all right. Thank you. Yeah, I had an experience with that where my cousin, who knows everything about this stuff, my other cousin had left for our group photo. She photoshopped her cousin in, her sister in, and when I went to find the photo, I couldn't find that photo anywhere. It turns out she had taken a picture from about 10 years earlier. And so that photo that we'd taken recently went back to 10 years earlier. So I know there's that facet. We did leave enough room for the person to be photoshopped in. I guess now someone's going to have to figure out how to do that. Okay, thank you.
Stanley?
Yeah, I just want to make the observation that just because AI or ChatGPT is capable of lying, I think that just makes it more evident that it's hard to detect AI, because anything you read is capable of someone lying behind it.
Sure.
So that just is another factor in proving the Turing test about whether you're speaking to a computer or a real person. Just because the computer can lie, so can a real person. So AI is no more authoritative than reading what somebody has to say about a subject.
Well, very often you determine if something is true by its source. And if you have a friend telling you and the friend has always been truthful, then you tend to believe what he or she says. But nowadays it's getting very difficult to tell what's true and what's not. And I think the courts are maybe having that problem also, is to try to determine what evidence is true evidence and what is faked. I think the jurists are having big problems with that nowadays.
Eyewitness is a prime example of that they've shown many, many times, that people's memory of seeing who did what is incorrect.
Yeah.
So even though you got 12 people that says, yes, I saw that. There's a video you can find on YouTube where the professor did a test where he showed a video where they were playing basketball games, and you were supposed to count how many scores on each time what was made. And they went through and everybody said, well, here's the scores. And down at the end, he says, okay, now tell me about the gorilla. And they went, what gorilla? And he go back and play the video, and the gorilla walks across the screen. And people were watching the ball, and they completely forgot about paying attention to the rest of the world.
I've seen that video and I fell for it too. I never saw the gorilla the first time through.
That's right. So again,
amazing.
you can't believe your eyes.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, anybody have other things they want to talk about or ask about?
Well, I want to welcome Barbara Wilkinson. We haven't seen you for a couple of weeks. Glad to have you back, Barbara. Pat has her hand. Oh, Willie has his hand up first.
Yeah, I just wanted to say to Pat, I'm actually taking a photography class right now through the continuing ed program. He's not going to be teaching this summer, but next fall, Stevan Dupas. I mean, I'll let you know the information about it later, but we go through all this stuff, all the cut and paste and being able to put people in.
Okay, that's the RCE thing that we take with Mary Burns.
Well, it's through the emeritus program. Yeah,
Okay.
it should be in the fall schedule. Like I said, we talked about it yesterday. He doesn't teach summer, but it's good. It's a full 18-week course on digital photography.
Okay.
Willie, can you give us more information about how we can find what sessions are available?
Sure. How would you like the information?
Well, just tell us in
Want me to
general.
email it to the? I can email it to the group, or I can present it in a couple of weeks.
Hank usually sends out various things and saying that this is a meeting coming up. There's something you might want to attend. And I kind of think if you sent that to Hank, maybe he would distribute it to the group.
Right.
Which he has done before, I'm sure.
Well, I mean, the class schedule doesn't come out for another couple of weeks for fall. Fall schedule is not going to come out till the end of summer, but I can certainly give you the information on the course.
But you also have to, enroll in all that, and that can be a rather lengthy process. So you have to get enrolled first and then go from there.
Okay,
Yeah,
So-
it's a whole, you have to be a student at the community college district. And then enroll in a course when it's available next year.
Well, isn't there a general website for the whole community college system that you could just tell us right now?
I don't have it off the top of my head right here, but
Okay.
But it is the San Diego Community College District Continuing Education Program. Is that correct,
Correct.
Willie?
yes.
So everybody here knows how to search on the internet.
Right.
Yep, San Diego Continuing Education. I will bet you will get there.
Probably.
And it's the emeritus program, so you have to know that too.
Pat,
Oh, yes, I had a question. Actually, this is the main question. This is a printer question, so I'm not sure if this is the right place, but I've called Apple on it and we fixed part of it and now it's back. But I'm working on my Quicken reports, which I've done every year since 2006, so that I can do my taxes off of that. And the first problem that happened was that the printer and the Canon printer has been working when it feels like it since 2020. But it's always printed out these reports. So all of a sudden, the first problem was it didn't print out the balance. So it prints out the reports without the balances, which is really no help at all. So I tried, shutting everything off and doing all that stuff. And, I think I did it 3 or 4 times. I finally called Apple. They did the same thing. And I finally could get that back. But now the thing is not printing. So you have the Quicken reports and you have the report, which is a general report. And then you click on, the balance, and then it prints out all the details, which could be 20 pages. So I just want the 1 page. Well, for some reason or other, it has decided that it does not want to print out that page. The original page, it prints out the details, but I don't want 20 pages. I just want 1. So I'm wondering if anybody has any idea. I
do.
sent it all over and
Pat,
Okay.
I use Quicken extensively, and I also use Quicken reports to fill out my taxes, but I don't print every report. I print to a PDF file,
Yeah.
and I put that PDF file in my computer under taxes, and then under taxes there's a tax 20. There's a tax 2.0, there's a tax 2.1, and there's a tax 2.3. And the tax 2.3, of course, is 2023, all 2023 files that I use to prepare those taxes. And then I can pull that up, and I can pull up 1 page or 20 pages of a particular PDF file.
Okay, so that would be the new. Actually, I have all my reports on Quicken, and actually, there's quite a few of them, of course, now. But I was thinking about how to get them off the Quicken, I guess, website, you could say, and put them on my desktop. So is that how you put them on the desktop? Is you make the PDF and then it's on your desktop?
No, I make a PDF and I put it in a particular folder that is all my tax information for that year.
But
So
that's
you're
in,
using a Quicken online version along with a Quicken on your desktop version?
Are you asking, Ross?
Pat, because she said that she
Oh.
had files that she was online that she was trying to print out or have information out of.
no, I don't do anything online. Quicken is not online. Quicken is like my cash register.
Okay, I understand.
So it's not online at all. I mean, I don't,
Okay, well, I think what Hank is saying is when you have that report open, you not only have the capability of clicking on print, but you might have the capability of file and save as. And then you can choose the format like PDF that
Mhm.
Hank is speaking of. And then you open up your PDF viewing program, go to that particular page and use the PDF viewing program to print that one page. The other thing that I do have to do quite often when I'm having trouble getting just that one bit of information that I want, either off of a web page or within a program on my desktop, is I use a screen grabbing program, and then grab that screen and then either save it as a picture or again as a PDF or as something I can import into Word, and then just print that particular piece of information out that I want, and don't worry about the other pages and stuff that are there.
Okay, well, that worked really well with the, if there's only one page, because I have done that and I've got them sprawled all over the desktop here. But sometimes there's 2 pages. I'm gonna try, okay, you gave me some ideas, so I'll check those out. Thank you.
It is a little more tricky. I agree with you, to try to get more than one page with a screen grab. But sometimes through the zooming, or when you are highlighting the area, if you can go down into the second page using your mouse or your arrow keys to take you down into that second page and get that particular group of information highlighted. And then you can right click into that highlighted and say, do this with it for me, please.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I'm surprised that Quicken doesn't have that print selection to select the pages that you want to show.
It does.
It does. It's just not working for
Oh,
someone.
okay.
May I ask an obvious, judging by the answers, my question is incorrect. I mean, my answer is incorrect, but have you asked Quicken Tech Support to how to format the report the way you want it?
Well, I think I'm beyond that. I got this in 2013, I think it was. So
I think you can always email them versus calling them, which may be, if you can say, I can wait a week or two, not that critical, but email them and maybe you get a response. But overall, yes, Intuit would spin off Quicken to a different company completely. Support has gotten terrible, and Intuit with QuickBooks has gotten dramatically more expensive. It's in the range of $700 to $800 per year per company that you're using for QuickBooks. And support is still terrible. We need another program or 2 out there. Then there are other ones out there. I don't have one to say you can use this one instead, but they're making it, they're going for the money. They're doing everything they can to make as much money as they can, and they really don't care what we feel.
My experience has been different with Quicken. Maybe they've changed in the last few months, but my experience with tech support using Quicken has been very good. Now, sometimes Quicken doesn't do what I want it to do, but tech support seems to work with me to see the best way to accomplish what I'm trying to do. May not be successful, but they work at it.
And your version is the latest version. And so in other words, you have a subscription for the program, or you're the latest version of the program?
Yes, I do. I have an annual subscription.
So, and I'm the same way. I have a 2019 QuickBooks. So I'm not eligible to get in touch with their support.
QuickBooks is not Quicken.
It's the same issue that I'm speaking of, sir, as far as having a current license. I agree with you. QuickBooks is a completely different company.
All right.
But if you don't have a current license for that particular program, trying to get response from technical support can be difficult.
Well, I agree on that. I presume, enough said.
Dan has his virtual hand up.
Dan, he's muted. I'll ask him to unmute.
Okay, I wanted to reference people to a AI article in today's newspaper, which is on page B5. And also I had a question. Question is I need a monitor. Does anybody have a suggestion on monitors?
I would say you might look into the San Diego Futures Foundation. They have used ones and they're pretty affordable.
Yeah. That would be a good suggestion. Less than $100 for a 24-inch is what you should be able to buy something new for, even to a 27-inch for that size. And as long as the only thing that I would suggest that you strongly look at if you're getting a used one, that verify with the model number that it's an LED, not a fluorescent tube, because the fluorescent tubes burn out and the LEDs do not.
Well, that's basically what happened to mine. It kind of died.
Hmm.
And I don't know whether it's LED or fluorescent tube, but it's dead.
But the model, again, should be able to Google the specs for that particular monitor and find out if it's LED or fluorescent tube.
Yeah.
My guess
Okay.
is if especially if you start to see a color shift, if it starts to go towards red to pink versus black or white, then the fluorescent tube is going south.
Well, it just flashed at me a few times and then got dim.
But when you
Thank you.
get the new one, if you get the model, if you get the name and the model number and then Google is whatchamacallit model number 6543 LED or fluorescent tube, and you ought to get an answer.
I think it really doesn't matter at this point.
Yeah, but if you're going to buy a new one, it does. Buy an
Well,
LED.
if you're going to get a new one, then it's going to be LED. I would be very surprised if you would find any that were fluorescent tubes in the new market. It's all going to be LED at this point. But if you went to the San Diego Futures or got another one used, then you would want to make sure that you're getting one that's fluorescent tube.
And that's what I meant. I didn't mean a new one. I mean new to you.
Dan, are you sure it's not the video card?
It's not usually the video card. And a way to check whether it's a video card versus the monitor, if you turn the monitor off cold, the light is off, turn it back on, you should get something that comes up on the screen that tells you it's a Lenovo or Acer or HP or something. And then that goes away, then it's talking to the computer itself. If you get a blinking light on the lower right, it can be saying that it's sleeping, that it thinks the computer's sleeping because there's nothing, no signal found or something like that.
I have substituted a monitor and it works fine. So it's
Great.
not the video tube.
Yeah, it's not
card.
something that I've had to change in many, many years as far as saying the video card went south. It's most of the time, 99 out of 100, it's the monitor itself.
Yeah. My monitor, unfortunately, split right down the middle. The brightness is different on the left side to the right side. And I suspect this may be a card problem and not a monitor problem.
No.
You think it's a monitor problem?
Yep.
Okay.
It's
not enough to cause me a problem, but I don't like it.
Well, again, it's a source. It's where you have a light on a liquid crystal screen. You have a light panel behind the screen, and then you have the liquid crystal in between, and that's what turns on and off. And then you see the information that you're supposed to see. If one of those lights, so let's say you have 4 LEDs in one side across that light, and one of those goes bad, then you're going to have a incorrect brightness on the screen.
So this is a fluorescent screen that I'm looking at.
Same issue then. You have 2 fluorescent tubes.
Okay, thank you.
Dan has his virtual hand back up.
I want to ask Dan about his article in the today's B section. What is it again?
It's battle looms over AI in public.
In today's UT.
Yes.
Page
What
what, Dan?
It's the battle looms over AI in public schools.
Did you,
What
you
section
said
is-
section B?
Page B5.
I don't see it. I'm looking at B5 on today's.
Let me check.
The very top of the page.
I believe he's saying D5 as in Don.
B dog or B boy? I thought it was B boy.
How about this?
What page again, Dan, phonetically?
It's on the top. It's on the top of the opinion
Very
section.
top of the page.
Why a titanic battle looms over AI in public schools.
It looks like Stanley's holding his up also.
Yeah, it's there. And then underneath is your say British monarchy. Haven't got to that section yet.
Yeah, the guy, Chris Reed, usually writes a pretty good article.
Oh, yes, I agree with Chris Reed on almost everything that he says. I'll look at it. Thank you for that, Dan. I'm sorry I my apologies. I'm simply human.
I hope so.
Yeah, can we verify that?
Got to check the pixels.
Yeah. I used to get the UT every day and Sunday, and then I decided really it's only Sunday that I want to read the comics. So I canceled the daily one. But then they had specials, but then every once in a while they would start bumping the price without telling me. And finally it got to the point where I said, forget it, I don't want it anymore. And I really don't miss it. But
You have to watch all of your bills for the automatic increases that they try to increase the bill for whatever it is, from insurance to telephones to internet services, all of those. They try real hard to keep bumping that price up and make it so it's you can say, yeah, I need to call them and tell them to lower it down again. But again, they're trying to make it just little increments, like boiling a frog, just do it little by little by little.
also, I've noticed that PayPal, be careful in PayPal. You may have some automatic renewals in PayPal that you have said it's okay. So go into PayPal and make sure that your automatic charges are what you want them to be.
Yep.
The Union Tribune has a internet only subscription if you want.
Yep, I get that out here in Hawaii. All right, any other questions? Any other comments? Then we'll see you next week.
Hank, is there a scheduled program for next week?
Yes, there is. Wait a minute. Do not have it in my head.
Is it
Can I help jog your memory, sir?
Just a minute. Today is May
no.
13th. Next week is
May 20th.
Google Maps. Tips and tricks.
No, that's when you had put me in, sir, to talk about my new Verizon
Have I
service.
dumped you again?
Apparently,
Ross,
if you want to do that, just let me know when you want me to do the Verizon.
I have you on the 27th for wireless internet, Ross.
All right.
You want me to swap those? Would you prefer to be next week?
You let me know what works for you. If 27th is what you have down there, that'll be fine.
Okay, that's what I have. Next week is Google Maps tips and tricks. I can't remember whether it's Theo Joe or what's his name.
Kevin.
The Microsoft employee.
Kevin.
It's
Kevin.
Good old Kevin.
Okay, is that the one that you said you used to find your wallet, or somebody used that Google Maps to find their wallet? Was it you or Stan or somebody? I remember that.
Well, what I said, and there's a device called the Tile, and Apple has a version of that also.
I don't think he used the tiles, because I know about the tiles. I thought this was something that had to do with Google Maps or something, and showed the location of where he was on Google, the maps.
The one for next week is a Kevin.
So I understand what you're saying, Pat, but I don't know how Google can find your wallet. I'm not saying they can't, but I don't know how they do that. Because you would usually have to sign up for that like a subscription. They can find you can find phones that way, and you do that through Apple or through Android. But I don't, unless you have a device of some kind in your wallet, I don't know how whatever program is going to find it.
Well,
I
if
have
I
a
may,
va- I have a
if I-
vague memory of a program.
I
where you-
I
where you-
am the one she's referring to. I have devices called Chipola, CHIPOLO. This is what I carry in my wallet. It's a very thin,
Yep.
hard little card. And I have one on my keychain, and I slipped one in my checkbook. So I have 3 little devices, and they all tie to an app on my phone. And I can go to the phone and find where each one is located, and Google, and it'll show it on a map. I don't know whether it's Google Maps or what, but it shows it on a map where it's located within a 30-foot radius.
Whatever it was you found in a gym somewhere. So I remember that sort of thing. But yeah, that might have been it. I think that was it. Thank you.
I have an app on my Windows desktop that finds my phone. I was surprised to discover it. It just said, find my phone, and it knows the phone number and shows me on a map where it is.
That's not what I'm talking about.
I'll bet you if you type "find my wallet" into Google, you will find a discussion of how to set that up.
The Google app is Find My Device. And you have that set up, and it doesn't say Find My Phone. That's somebody else's, but Find My Device, and it will find your phone.
Or tablet or Chromebook, a device that you have registered with Google, not your wallet.
Stan, what do they charge for this Chipola devices?
Okay, for me, it didn't seem very much. Let me rant just a bit about spending money. I presume many of you, are in a situation where your income exceeds your expenses. And so I don't get too much worried about the minor charges, so long as it doesn't affect my lifestyle or start going into my savings. The short answer is I don't know what it's cost to me. It didn't seem to be outrageous when I did it.
$10 to $20 is what something like that should cost.
Is that how often is $20?
So it depends on how long as I found with the tile devices, it all depends on how long the battery lasts. And the first set of tiles that I had, you had to buy a whole new device once a year or so because the battery went south. Now the new ones have a replaceable coin battery. So I just replaced the coin battery and have no additional expense. But I think when you see the Apples or some of the other ones, you can buy a group of them for, again, $10 to $20 each. And I don't know how long the batteries last in the Apple device. And I would assume that in the Apple device, the battery's not easily replaced.
Yeah, I think this is the same way,
Yeah.
but it's not a monthly charge.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
I want to welcome Barbara Wilkinson back. We haven't seen you for a few weeks, Barbara, but glad to see you back.
Already welcomed her, sir.
You already welcomed me. This is the second time,
Oh, okay.
but thank you. Yeah,
That was an echo.
yeah, that was an echo.
Will is our welcomer in chief. All right, everybody.
Okay. I'd just like to say Happy Mother's Day to any mothers that are online.
Here, here.
Yeah.
Or who has a mother.
Or who has a mother, right.
Thank you for reminding me. I need to make a reservation for my wife tomorrow.
Saved your marriage.
Right. Okay, I'll see you all
Okay.
next week.
Okay, have a good week, folks.
Yeah, you all.
Aloha.
Aloha.